We're going to do a little bit of prep work to get ready for the lab itself. The first part of it is going to be assembling the fan, which is pretty straightforward. The second part is going to be, I'm going to show you how you can make this cork work for your windmill when you're ready to go. The fan is fairly straightforward to assemble. You just want to pull it out. Box. So that's the fan itself. And there'll be this little blue cylinder in there. This is actually a capacitor. And then you'll have a USB cable which you'll need to use to charge it or run it. So just you can get your USB cable hooked up, take the fan out of the box. And putting the capacitor in is just like putting a battery in. There is a plus side on the capacitor and a minus side. It's going to be very hard to see it on the camera, but the plus side is over here. If you just look at that, and you can see the plus inside, just put it in like a battery and you're good to go. You can either charge the fan up to run your experiment, or if you're ready to go, you can just use the USB and it'll run right off the USB. You can either use a standard like a cell phone charger USB if you have one of the more universal ones, or you can just plug it into a computer and run it off the USB of your computer. To make the cork, again, if you have a wine cork or a piece of styrofoam solid that you can cut into a cylinder like this, go ahead and you can use that. But if you want to use this, it's pretty straightforward. There's a little nut in here. You can just come in and take your screwdriver and just unscrew that, and kind of once you get it loose, it'll get going. And again, or if you have a butter knife, you can just get it in there. It shouldn't be too tight to get off. So we're going to want to hold this off, set this to the side. We need to get the screw out of there. You can just push, it pulls right out. And what we need to do is get this cork so it sticks on the spindle of this. And of course, if you're using the cork we gave you, you can see it has that hole in it, and that clearly won't work. If you're using your own cork, or if you cut a piece of styrofoam, you can just put it on there. What you're going to want to do is give it a turn and make sure that it doesn't slip, that as it turns the little spindle, and you should be able to see that. If you're going to use this, it's not too bad to do. This is where our handy dandy tape will work quite well. I'm just going to take some tape, and I'm actually just going to wad it up. I don't want to be particularly fancy about this, and I do want it to fit in there tight, so don't worry if it needs a little bit of coaxing to get in there. That's a good thing. And again, you don't want it to be nicely rolled up because the little screw might slip. And again, if I don't have quite enough tape, you can put a little bit more in there. But I'm just going to try to get this tape so it sits kind of roughly flat on this front surface. And then I'm going to have to back it, because if I try to put it in there, it's going to push it through. So I'm just using my screwdriver to keep from pushing the tape through. And I'm just going to go to the center of that tape and try to push it onto the spindle, and I'll feel it stick. I can do a little bit of rearrangement. If it wobbles, you just want to do a little bit of a rearrangement. If it wobbles too badly, then what you're going to want to do is try it again and try into a different location. If you're having a little trouble, you can just push the tape out. But fundamentally, what you want is this spindle, to be stuck on to my cork, whatever that is, at roughly the center location. And again, you may think of some more clever ways to do this. You could shove a wooden dowel and drill a small hole in it and glue the spindle to it. There's any number of ways. But if you play around a little bit, it could be a little frustrating, but eventually you'll get it to stick on there. And when you do, it'll spin. And again, make sure it doesn't wobble like I have when you have it.